Cancer Pathways offer comfort, care, and emotional support for people and their families who are fighting cancer.
And tomorrow the organization is holding its annual Surviving with Style fashion show to raise money for the organization. And joining us this morning to talk more about that is Molly Hill, the wife of the former late Senator, State Senator Andy Hill, who passed away last November after battling lung cancer. We're so sorry for your loss. We're glad that you're here to talk about this. One of the things that I noticed about you and Andy were that you obviously not only stood by his side while he battled cancer, but you both really had a commitment to serving others. And this is what you're doing with Cancer Pathways, right? Tell us about your work with them.
Well, we first found Cancer Pathways when Andy discovered, he was there for a lecture and discovered through talking to this doctor the clinical trial that eventually helped prolong his life. And then he was surprisingly a model for the Surviving with Style show several years later. So that's how I became familiar with the organization and the wonderful things that they do. My kids have worked at the summer camps that they provide free of charge for kids who've been touched by cancer. And basically, everything that you can think of when someone is faced with this disease and you don't know what to do, they kind of have the answer for that.
Can you tell us what it meant to you as a wife and as a mom?
Well, as a wife and watching my husband go through this awful treatment, it was comforting to know there was someone on the other end of the phone anytime I needed an answer or even just a comforting voice. As a mom, it was comforting knowing that my kids could meet other kids through this camp that were going through similar things. And they had the choice whether to, my son had the choice whether to work at the camp or not last summer. And he said, no, I want to do that. And it ended up being really great for him and great for the kids with whom he worked.
Well, my dad had colon cancer, and a lot of the focus is on the patient going through treatment, but also it's the people who are helping to support that patient who need the support as well, right?
Exactly right.
And that's what Cancer Pathways, that's one of the things they help with.
Yes.
What difference did it make for Andy to know that you and your kids were also benefiting from this?
Well, I think it gave him a little control over something where you have no control, and comfort, knowing that we had someone to turn to.
So tell us about tomorrow's event. What's going to happen?
So tomorrow's event is really exciting because it is celebrating survivorship. And so this is a fashion show that we've had, and all of the models are cancer survivors. Wow. And so when we ask people if they'd like to model, they first start with, oh, I'm not a model, I've never modeled. And I said, well, you're in good company, because nobody has. But it's a time to celebrate their survivorship, and it's also a time of hope for everybody else that's there watching them. When you receive that diagnosis, and it's really, I can't think of the words to describe it, but overwhelming, basically. And then you see these people up on stage and you hear their stories and you realize that people get through it, people survive it. And so it's really hopeful. And I know when Andy modeled and they shared his story, we were inundated with phone calls by people who were going through something similar, and he was able to help a lot of other people in that way. So it's about hope, and it's about celebrating survivorship and fashion.
Which is fun, and it's nice to have an event that is uplifting and inspiring and empowering, right?
Exactly, yeah, this is a very uplifting event. This is not a sad, this is very uplifting. They end with a final, I won't give it away, but a final song where there's a kind of a parade of all the models, and people just want to stand up and clap.
And where can people go to get more information on tomorrow's event?
CancerPathways.org.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Molly Hill, thank you so much for being with us again. We're sorry for your loss, but we
you.
really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, you.
Molly.